Greetings, Mayor Jeff Schielke reporting into you on Friday, January 15th, 2021. I keep forgetting I'm a month ahead into the new year here. I just want to, number one, thank everybody for your cooperative spirit. There's certainly is a lot of things going on around town that have people's questions about them. Certainly the whole winter snow removal thing has generated a lot of questions to City Hall, and we've tried to be as understanding and as responsible as we can. That is a challenging thing to do because this particular season we had some significant snow, and then it got somewhat cold and the snow froze, and it was very, very difficult for many people to get their driveways finalized because we had plowed snow back into the entrance to their driveway, and then that all froze, and so that was a very point of consternation to a lot of folks. But I appreciate the community's cooperation in that, and that this too shall pass, as we would say. We are probably, though, the number one thing that is in the face of this city government and all city governments around us, as well as the county government and the state government, is what we are going to do relative to the vaccinations surrounding the corona epidemic. And I wish I could sit here this moment with exact answers of times and places and dates when shots are going to be available. And I can't do that because, quite frankly, this is a situation that's above me and anybody else in the city of Batavia. This is coming to us first from the federal government to the state government and then down to the county government. And so I want to go on record here today as commending the leadership that's been shown by a newly elected county board chairwoman, Corinne Pirog, who's a Batavia resident, I'm proud to say. But she did organize a meeting this past Thursday in which all the mayors of Kane County were invited to attend, along with representatives of the Kane County Health Department. And I might further add that I've been very impressed with the Kane County Health Department dealing with all the moving parts of this thing and all the answers that they don't have, and all the good stuff that's going on. They have certainly risen to the occasion and are trying to do a very diligent job of making sure that we all know what's happening when it's going to happen. And so we had this meeting on yesterday, on Thursday, and I thought it was very forthcoming. And we are moving out of, the governor of Illinois has decided that we're going to go to phase 1B. We've been in phase 1A, and that's where we were giving shots to first responders and to people in the health industry and the healthcare workers. And then we were also doing it for people in the long-term care facilities, and both residents and staffs. And they were the number one priority because it appeared that the vulnerability for catching corona was probably the highest in those areas. Now we go to phase 1B, and we are told that hopefully this will be kicked in here in the next few days. We don't know for sure. When we met yesterday, the whole system is dependent on when the vaccine arrives and how much vaccine you get. And there's been some conversations that Illinois didn't get as much as it was entitled to, and I'm not going to get involved in that because I don't know that much about it. But supposedly now there is some pretty increasing numbers of vaccine coming into the area. And so I had the opportunity to participate in some discussions recently with the mayors in the region and Mayor Lightfoot in Chicago about who should be the next people that should be involved in getting shots. And I think from some of those discussions there were some recommendations made to the governor's office. And the new thing is that residents age 65 and older are now in the front row to be given shots. And the other ones that have been cited in the front line, and they've issued a list here, so I just thought I would read it. Any first responders, law enforcement, 911 workers, security personnel, or school officers who haven't already got a shot remain on the list and are eligible to be shot. Another one that was added, and I was very pleased about this, I had some part of the conversation on this, was the educational community, teachers, administrators, principals, school support staff, student aides, daycare workers within the school system. Those seem to be one of the groups that's very vulnerable because many of the younger children seem to catch corona, but they seem to be able to get by it very quickly, but they carry it. And so there's the exposure issue that comes out very strongly in the school community. So they're in this next group. Next one that was also noted is the food and agricultural business, the processing plants, veterinarian services, livestock services, and animal care. And the next one is manufacturing, industrial production of goods for distribution to retail, wholesale, or other manufacturers. And I think there's a little bit of an issue there because they may want to be having somebody, the employer, issuing letters saying that they're in this industry. And I don't think they've got that quite all worked out yet, but that's one of them that's out there. Another one is correction workers and inmates, jail officers, juvenile facility staff, workers providing in-person support in jails and prisons, and inmates. Another one that I think was a very smart decision was the United States Postal Service workers, because goodness knows if they shut themselves down, there's going to be a lot of issues generated by it, but more importantly, they're out in contact. If you go to the post office and see the lines at the windows, all the people in there breathing and coughing, and then certainly all the postal workers walking their routes or driving their routes and interweaving with people throughout the day, they are certainly high exposure. Another group is the public transit workers, which are flight crews, bus drivers, train conductors, taxi drivers, paratransit drivers, in-person support, and riding support services. And we've got, those services in Batavia, so that will certainly be involved there. Another one is grocery store workers, baggers, cashiers, stockers, pickup employees, and customer service. And the last one is shelter and daycare staffs, homeless shelters, women's shelters, adult day drop-off programs, sheltered workshops, and rehab centers. So those are the places that are supposedly next on the list. And they indicated in the meetings that I've been at this past week that this is going to be kind of a long-term spread out of this thing because there's a lot more people that need shots, and right now they have the ability to deliver. In Kane County, it's estimated that we got 1.9 million people over the age of 65, and we have 1.3 million people in the occupational groups that I just read. So you've got a situation where those are the next in line, and there's some supposition that we'll be doing this shot thing for the rest of the year, and maybe beyond, to get everybody involved. Now, I don't want to spread any rumors about anything that may or may not happen, but I will tell you that there are at least one site in Batavia that's being highly considered for a location for shots. Now, we haven't been told that it's been put into service, but some of the folks that are in some of the agencies that have access to the program, I'm told have leased some facilities, and again, I'm real guarded about saying where this is, but if it comes to be, I think it'll be highly utilized, and it will be a convenient place for many people in Batavia to go into. Just a few other notes of things that are happening in the community, and again, I appreciate everybody's understanding. We're getting a stream of calls at City Hall from people, where can I get a shot? Why can't I get a shot? Why do they let me not be in the group that can get in? And the city's not making those decisions. We're only following the leadership here of who can and cannot do it. So please bear with us, because the intentions, as far as we're concerned, is everybody in Batavia that needs a shot should get a shot. And we will continue to keep you posted, but I'm afraid this will be one of the ongoing topics of this call on a weekly basis for probably the remainder of the year. Now, just another few anecdotes. We do have an amazing amount, I would describe it, of new businesses that are kind of telling us that they want to come and move into Batavia, both on Randall Road and on the downtown area. And again, I don't want to start any rumors because some of this hasn't been put together yet and haven't hung signs. One I would share, and I may have already done this, is right kitty corner from City Hall at Houston and Island Avenue. We have the Windmill Grill and Pizzeria. And they have done a phenomenal job inside that building. It used to be Aliano's restaurant, as you may remember in the old days, or not the old days, but in the recent past. And they have now gone and have totally renovated the place. And so it will be, I think, a very, very popular place. The folks that are doing this own an existing restaurant down in Springfield. And I've been told by the mayor down there that it's a very highly thought of restaurant, and there's some family things have enlarged, and so there are several of the people involved have moved up here to the northern part of the state and found this location to open this restaurant. So we are very excited about that. We think it's going to be a nice addition. The city council has taken some action here to provide some support TIF funding for the renovation of the old Batavia National Bank for the true old timers on this call. And later there was, I guess it was the Gary Wheaton Bank and the Batavia Bank and whatever, but it's the building at the southwest corner of River and Wilson. It's the big bank building, and you probably will be seeing quite a bit of construction in and around that building in the near future with all the things that are being planned for its use to be transformed into kind of a banquet area slash comedy club. And I think it's going to be open on its off nights for people to rent and maybe do a party or something in, but there's going to be certain nights of the week that it's going to be a comedy club, and there's apparently a lot of people lining up to perform there. So that's coming to downtown Batavia. And I think I may have mentioned before, the Randall 15 Theater out on Randall Road has been acquired by a group based out of Michigan, and I've read an article that they've put out about themselves, or was published about them. Sounds like a very nice company. They've already opened a movie theater down in Frankfort, Illinois, and it's in the old Dominic's grocery store that went out of business. And so I was in Frankfort. The mayor down there is a good friend of mine, and I've been down there a couple times, and it's right almost at the intersection of Route 45 and 30 that go there. It's obviously east of Joliet, but the mayor of Frankfort was telling me that they needed to get the screen higher in the old Dominic store. So the way they did it was they didn't take the roof off, they dug the floor out. And then they sloped the floor down so that when you come in what used to be the Dominic store, suddenly there's this walk down with the seats as you go further down. And so they've got the seats with the drop down trays off the back, and they've expanded their offerings down there to almost a restaurant type of situation where you can enjoy food while you're watching the movie. And so I guess that's coming to Batavia soon too, so we're excited about that. And we've had some very interesting discussions here in the last few days with some folks. And again, I'm not trying to be coy here, but I probably shouldn't name names till it's more concrete. But I'll go to a site. It's the area behind Raising Cane where the old Avenue Motors Chevrolet dealership was there. There's a lot of activity on that one, and we're thinking there's going to be some significant announcements there in the near future of retail activity. So Batavia's got a lot going on. We've got some really grand people in this town that have a lot to do, a lot to be thankful for, but what I'm very thankful for is the number of kind hearts and supportive voices that we have in this town that keep things like the food pantry and the clothes closet and the toy drive, and the people that contacted me and said, would you stop by, I want to write a check for the toy drive and I want to make some significant impact on this. And I know several very beautiful faces in this town that did that they wrote very nice big hearts and beautiful faces that really stood up and really made things happen in that regard, because the folks that ran that, Roy and Jeannie Bailey and Rudy and Marilyn Dubas, were telling me they were really under demand this year for people needing toys, and we were able to meet the issue. So it's thanks to all this great generosity that makes, I think, Batavia a very special place to proudly call our home. So with that being said, I'll end it for this week, and I appreciate your continued interest, and I promise you, as soon as we know more finite details exact about the shot locations, I'll be here singing them all as loud as I can. So thank you, and have a great week.